I'm Andrew Young with Pearl River Glass Studio in Jackson, Mississippi, and I want to give a presentation today to the architects about the proposal we're putting together for art glass for the dining hall at Mississippi State University. What we're going to do is I'm going to put design sketches up in front of you and just have a narrative that we discuss each concept as we go towards the final idea sketch that I've got for you to look at today. Thank you. This is my first idea sketch, and usually I resort to familiar forms and themes and ideas. And so I've got these angular shapes that you have a plane in the foreground and a plane in the background to kind of capture a parallax view. And all these things are suspended by stainless steel cables. And so one of the thoughts, once I got into it, the more I got into it, I realized that the stainless steel cables would be sort of bothersome visually and kind of create sort of a spider web, which I didn't like too much. So now what we've done is we've taken the idea of the overlapping planes and those curved forms, and I tried to go with plant forms was my initial idea. And you can see where they overlap the wall in the front and they overlap the wall in the back. But you see how the vertical lines of the stainless steel cable interacting with all the lines that are going to be going on by hanging the lighting squares from the ceiling creates sort of a web of work. One thing I want to notice in this drawing is how the logo wall with the signage penetrates the wall as you come down the corridor. That's very important for the final sketch. In this sketch, I took the pencil drawing and I added color to it. I wanted to pull in earth colors like vegetables and greens and ambers and reds and oranges so that it kind of related to the theme of the location of the dining room and that kind of thing. So, but you know, I wonder about the color, whether that's really appropriate for the overall theme of what we're trying to do with the contemporary look. So I'm glad I did the color, but I really don't think I like it. In this sketch, I'm getting away from the curved forms because I didn't think that they related to the basic architectural feeling of the space. I'm going to more trapezoidal shapes, and you can see that the lines that I left in there start to create that web. Down at the bottom, this is where I started to transition into the concept that I'm going to propose for the project, where I now have vertical forms. Since we have 4x8 sheet capacity in our new kilns, I wanted to maximize that. So here we can see my initial study with having standing forms in the opening. My design assistant, Joy Abadikichi, I asked her to come to my design studio and look at what I've been working on to help kind of, if I talked to her, that it would help for me to clarify my idea. I had been earlier to talk to a man who has a lighting company. He's a lighting consultant, and he and I worked out the idea of the LED, multicolored LED strip. So the dark line that runs across the top of the wall is a recessed LED light strip, and these vertical forms are going to be the large 4x8 sheets of glass that are countered across the top of the LED like sails on a ship. Just think of it like different angles of sails as you would move through, and the LED lights are going to be coded to a system that picks up the movement of people walking in the corridor, and that movement is going to be translated to the LED lights so that they'll come on in some kind of interactive pattern that will illuminate the glass up above. So this is the concept that I want to present as our idea for the dining hall corridor wall piece. Across the bottom you can see the LED lights. They're black with the colors of the LED. That would be uplighting large forms of glass. Each piece of glass would have slumped clear glass form to create a pattern that would refract the light. It would be safety glass. It'll be the kiln form glass sandblasted and then having a piece of clear glass laminated to the back side of it so that it creates this translucent effect, so that the lamination then, that translucent effect picks up the lighting from below. It also creates a sense of separation between the corridor and the dining room. but you also get these little glimpses between the edges of the glass, which will always be different depending on where you are when you walk, which I think will create a very lively visual dynamic as you walk down the hallway. And this view was taken from the dining room looking back into the corridor. So the idea I have now is to sort of give you an idea sketch of why we're going to put all this together. First, we're going to start with a 1/4 inch thick clear glass. It's going to be low iron glass. So the low iron glass is nice and perfectly clear. Then on top of that, I'm going to come back and I'm going to take forms of the same glass because it's got the same expansion of coefficient. So once we have the same COE, we can put glass on top of glass and fire up the kiln. Okay, so this gets fired in the kiln. This all becomes one piece of glass, and it'll actually have a much more molded and liquidy look to it because it's going to be molded in the kiln. And it'll have some kiln texture on the back side of it. Then what we'll do is we'll take it to the laminator. We'll have another piece of low iron clear glass. Now it's going to be crystal clear. It's not going to have that green cast. It's going to be perfectly clear, more optically clear. And you'll have your lamination line in here so that that will give you the architectural safety glazing standard issues. Then what we'll have is a steel frame made. The steel frame will expose the edges of the glass. The steel frame will be, I'll come back and I'm going to put a veneer of wood. I know wood is not highly technology, doesn't have the technology. We could use Formica or something like that, surface laminate. But I like the idea of wood because the wood would sort of warm this whole thing up a little bit. All right, so now you've got the glass, the wood. Now what this thing will have, it'll have a threaded bolt coming out the bottom. The threaded bolt will be on a steel plate. And the steel plate will be the top of the wall. I'm just going to draw this sort of as a cross section. Down inside here will be the LED strip. If we recess the LED strip, then it's less expensive because the LED strip is not exposed to, exposure to human error and that kind of thing. All right, so now we have this piece of glass then bolted in place. Now I want to use just one bolt so that when we get there, then we can achieve the maximum interest in terms of the angle of the pieces of glass. Then what we'll have the steel top. The steel top can be covered with wood or it can be covered with a Formica surface, a laminate surface. And then what we'll have an access panel. The access panel will be on the baguette side, and we can open this thing up and get inside and service the LED lights. So what you're going to end up with then is this very easily to maintain, so then you'll have this form, and we can round these edges over because it's wood. We can sand those to make them a little bit softer. And you're going to have your LED light down inside the trough. And the LED light is going to be controlled by the so we're going to have the LED lights down in here that we're just going to be filling up color so that we can vary the intensity, pastel colors, all that kind of stuff when we come back and work with it. So then it's going to cast colors up on the glass. And what's going to be fun about the color on the glass is that depending on where the light is refracted around the glass that we've left fused on the surface, it's going to create ridges, and those ridges are going to have highlights and everything. So as people walk by, then the glass will have a changing, ever-changing color relationship. I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to get a chance to run through this design sketch I did. It was a lot of fun actually to try to come up with something that I felt was modern, was not too heavy glass, but something clear. And one thing that I did not mention during the demonstration of the technology part at the end was that the glass would be sandblasted on the back. And then when it's laminated, they can treat the sandblasting so that it's not completely opaque, but has this really beautiful translucent quality to it. So that translucency will pick up a light color as it comes up, so that it's going to help to illuminate the glass. And I wanted to say thank you to Peter Hammond for being the cameraman and the technician helping put all this together. And I look forward to y'all's comments and feedback. Thank you very much.